Well, honestly, I'm a little bummed out. We're no longer able to stream any more Anno 11.7 Pax Romana. Hello again there, friends and fans. Raptor here, and there's nothing to be alarmed about. Anno is a game that'll be coming out on November 13th, 2025, and the developers have asked us to only stream for about a week, and many of you have joined me here on this channel to see us building multiple gorgeous cities. I'm really impressed with how well laid out a city could be in this game and how much detail you can put into it after playing games like Town to City and of course maybe a little bit of Banished, but more like the recent release of Farthest Frontier. Anno has really finally allowed me to build cities that I've always wanted to build with a lot more freedom. So today I wanted to give you a little tour of a city that we've been building all the way up to tier 3 and kind of show you a game that was ongoing in Sandbox that has been a lot of fun. I don't know how many hours I've been playing, maybe about, I don't know, it feels like 20 or 30 now, but we've done everything from taking out the pirates and also, of course, building some gargantuan structures like the theater, but not yet the Colosseum like you see in the background there. That'll be for tier 4. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, turn on the notification bell, all that good stuff, as I'll have more keys to give away for Anno 11.7 Pax Romana, hopefully in the future. Now, I also know that a little bit more than likely before the release of this game, we'll be able to show a lot more too. So if you want to see it before you get it yourself, I will absolutely be covering more of this map on tier 4, and we'll also be beating the campaign, which seemed to have a lot of interesting things with the brother and sister that you could choose to be one or the other, and they do have some different stories, so some replayability there in a campaign that's probably the same, but at least the background story is kind of a little different. All right, without further ado, join me, Emperor Raptor, as we take a look at Raptoria Prime, our biggest city we've ever built so far in Anno 11.7 Pax Romana. Let's go. I wanted to jump a little bit back in time to us building an army in Anno, and we were able to go out to Albion and conquer an entire island with this force here, which is about 600 men. We have ourselves a bunch of legionnaires and also, I think, archers, horsemen, you know, cavalry, and also catapults and stuff there too. If we hold Control Shift and R, we can actually zoom in down to the troops here, and we can play a little bit in third person as either kind of like the governor himself, a soldier, or even an archer, and we can even attack with those, which is pretty cool. So I like that a lot. I did want to show this though because a lot of people are still aware that the game has ground combat, and so you can raise a huge army as we have here with hundreds of troops and lots of ships, and load all of those ships and equipment onto, well, the troops and equipment onto ships, and then have those ships go anywhere to conquer enemy islands. So pretty cool. There's actually some achievements as well for those Hall of Fame points by defeating your other rivals in the map who are AI controlled. But yeah, I was able to custom build this entire little area here, and it was quite nice on our second city. Now this city is a little bit far behind. We'll jump into a more modern save where it's even more developed than this, but I'm really impressed. This whole city purpose here was to literally just build that army and make enough money and materials and of course have enough manpower in order to then have all those troops be created and then deploy onto ships made by a whole other island. So in addition to making stuff that these islands needed to support each other, they were also building a big old military too. So again, a great and gorgeous game. I'm not even done decorating this city. I've got a lot of buildings to upgrade, a lot of things that I can do, but you know, if you think about it, this is a lot of wasted space, but who cares? You want to build a beautiful city, move things around, and this game absolutely lets you do that. Our theater there looking gorgeous with a monument nearby too, and I'm just impressed. I'm really impressed. I used to really want to be the type of player who can you know, like build efficiently in Anno 1800, but there didn't seem to be a lot of you know, opportunity to be able to build big beautiful cities. You absolutely could build gorgeous cities in Anno 1800, but not up to its full potential. And so this game really allows you to do that with, of course, my favorite buildings probably being like the flax fields with these blue flowers, but the lavender fields are even more gorgeous. So let's go ahead and take a look at a more future save, maybe a few more hours complete than this. After our large invasion of Albion, I disbanded all these troops and had everyone go back to work and build something gorgeous, which is more of these cities. One's over there, and there's one over here too. And we'll just kind of look at some of the changes here in just a second, but these are their basic layouts with tons of room to grow. We've got all this room up here to eventually build like a Colosseum and also more homes and such up here. Now, there's already DLC confirmed for this game too, going to Egypt, and so there'll be more Egyptian you know, leaders and specialists and locations and units and like ships and other things like that. So really looking forward to what we already have waiting in store for us down the line. Let's jump into the future and take a more in-depth look at this city. There it is, same city, but a little bit more in the future now, with much more of a focus on trying to decorate. I've got to say, this is probably the most beautiful Anno game I've seen yet. It is a gorgeous location with Latium. It is a beautifully detailed game with all the assets and things that we can build. And also, I've got to say, it's like just the most bestest island ever. Seriously, when we first started Sandbox, I landed on this island here. I don't know if this is part of that I don't know, they had like a contest or something like that, but there's this beautiful inner cove. There's all these gorgeous like rolling hills and mountains around, and a wonderful place to be able to build near the coastline, as well as lots of waterfalls. So this has got everything I want. Winding rivers, waterfalls, like an inland, almost like a lake, but it does of course go out to the ocean, and you can use that. You can build there and build ships and launch them that way if you want to. I mean, it's incredible. So this is the first city I've been building on, and although I haven't been able to go to tier 4, and we won't be able to see that in this video today, we will be showing more tier 4 stuff in the future though. Remember, I really kind of like got a lot of my skills developed here by playing slow and building in this city. Now, previously in May of 2025, I was able to play Anno 11.7 a little early. The developers invited me to kind of like a remote play session. You may have seen those videos, and I got about 3 hours to play before and after my trips to Poland to work on some other things. But yeah, I was able to play once, and then they invited me back to play again, and I really enjoyed the first city I built for learning. The second city even better, but this is really awesome. I think really your first city that you're going to build in this game, you should keep and be proud of, because it's going to be a learning opportunity where you're going to be trying all these different things and working on different sections of your city, like maybe making a decorative entrance to it, maybe a decorative wall around here. We can build defensive walls too. You saw that before with the barracks and the cavalry over on the other island. But these are your tier 3 homes, and there's a lot of great things, systems that I'm just starting to kind of more understand now in this game. Of course, this is a game that now has you a little bit more importantly using like service area. Like there's a large circle around this building, and you can build up to 3 types of roads: the dirt roads, the kind of paved roads that require concrete, and then also marble roads too that increase speed and distance for city services like this, for example, a sanctuary, to where we're praying to a god for harvest. But there's also like Neptune and Mars, gods of war, and also of the sea. And those really change the way that your city works, and the whole tech tree of the game is outstanding as well. And this video here today is going to just be me kind of talking about my experience and thoughts so far. I know a lot of you want to see gameplay, and there's plenty of videos for that on the channel too, so absolutely make sure you check that out. But a lot of people were asking me, is it worth it and whatnot, and I don't want to say yet, because I still need to be able to play co-op with and against friends, and I still need to be able to complete the campaign and also play tier 4 to see if going through all this stuff is actually worth it. So I will be covering that in a little bit of time, but I think this tech tree, which once was very intimidating, is actually very doable, and there's some interesting things locking kind of the end game progression, and it's very cool that like these things are very much tied together, like military, civic, and economic all loop back to each other. You know, the military, if you train certain things, it helps you to be a little bit more efficient in you know, repairing vessels that may be attacked at sea, and even like having like more things to do with repair and like city management. There's some good stuff here too for the Navy under civic, like for example some shipbuilding too. So sometimes you have to go down the civic tier to get, you know, naval ships. Sometimes you have to go down the economic tier to be able to get enough materials to build a big navy. So they all very much link to each other, although those tech trees are obviously separated. But it's very, very cool how you generate knowledge. Very important in this game, although I didn't build it in the city, is your villa. And this villa looks amazing. This is a kind of a different design for this. If I right click here off screen, I can click this cosmetic tool, and this does allow me to click between a couple of different skins for it. And I feel like this looks a little more like Japanese. Like it's kind of a beautiful tile set that I would imagine seeing in like a Japanese setting with the darker tile. And there are also different skins for all the buildings in the game, or at least a lot of them. There's some others that you can buy from the Hall of Fame, which come from simply getting like Steam achievements in it. But this is the most important building in the game by plugging in specialists, by getting prestige. These are all tied together. The more prestigious your city by building certain buildings, the more specialists you get to plug in, and then these specialists do all sorts of things like provide more attack range to walls or towers or gates that may be near it, or a health bonus, which helps to increase your health. And that's the thing you're going to be really paying attention to in this game. I believe is more important than ever before, and more manageable in a really satisfying way is, you know, your island health, your island fire safety and also happiness too, although, you know, ours is a little lower. I've been tweaking around with things, but honestly, it's a great way and a very fun way to be able to solve problems in the city by being able to do it directly rather than just kind of building buildings and covering a you know, certain area of tiles, make sure every building's covered. There's different ways to do it here. Now, these offices also kind of act like mini villas too, and as you can see here, this one, really important, increases our research by 3 if porridge is supplied. So all these houses here are getting porridge. Like every single one of these houses pretty much eats that from tier 1 all the way up. So that means every building within this range is providing like additional knowledge. So there's like a big breakdown on what city's providing what for the knowledge, and finding these specialists is more fun than ever before. I've got to say, it's quite difficult to find a specialist for the Navy. There are ways to get favor with the Emperor in order to get rerolls that kind of benefit you that way, but you can't get like legendary ones that way. So you'll be spending a lot of money, I think, re-rolling in order to get like epic and legendary you know, economists or captains, which is very important for your ships too, and very helpful for your ones that are going across to Albion, you know, like the international flights basically that help to slow down cargo reduction from weight and damage and stuff like that. But this is also providing more workforce from these residents too. So, you know, just like in the previous Annos, this is nothing new, but it is very, you know, it's refreshed. There are new elements to this, and it's so fun to be able to plug people in and out of towns and to kind of ship them around based on what's happening in your town. You could have a town that's having a lot of fires, and you know, you don't want to spend a lot of space on your fire departments, for example, so you can put in like a you can put in like a specialist to be able to take with that to take that and solve that problem. So and another thing is hosting all of these festivals in these towns absolutely can help to be able to hosting festivals can help to bring in specialists. So there's kind of like a random roll on those to whether or not they're going to come on into your town. And you can always sell them too and buy some other things. Another thing you might not know is in that first person mode I showed you too, and this is rather fun. If you go up to your aqueduct, and this is a little bit of a secret, very big secret, we're going to go ahead and jump up here to the aqueduct and jump in to a log flume. Not so secret anymore, I guess. But anyway, keep it a secret. All right, let's go ahead and jump up here. And yeah, if you left click on your on your aqueduct, it becomes like a log flume, and you can give a tour of your city that way to anybody who wants to see it. But this is a cool little thing they added. You can completely stop, or you can speed up. You can look left and right. You know, kind of neat. And it really gives a beautiful tour to the city. So that's a fun little attention to detail, as well as people hanging out near large fountains. There are areas, when you make a public plaza, it's not completely empty. I'm looking at you, City Skylines 2. I want more games like Town to City, City Skylines, whatever it may be. When you make a public square like this, it should look used by the people, even if they're just spawning fake people. This looks great. You got a couple, 2-3 people chatting. You've also got large groups of people like arguing and talking. You got people sitting on the fountain here and just chilling. I mean, it looks so damn believable. It's really good. And there are certain areas like that, you know, where people will kind of walk around, you know, your statues and other things to your gods. Maybe they'll stop and pray a little bit, talk to somebody else. And there's a lot of life. There's a lot of life in this game. You can actually watch a play go on, and they actually read lines from, I think, some actual historic plays. I'm not entirely sure, but everybody seems to be having a good time. You know, you can see the troops there walking in and out, and I don't know, they're just doing the dramas, which is quite cool. So nice to be able to see that. Imagine when we build the Colosseum. I think I might be able to, I'm not sure exactly how big it is yet, but I think I could fit it in here or up here, and it'll be great to see like naval battles going on inside the Colosseum, or gladiator fights, which is a thing as well. So yeah, I really like how all of these things tie together. Now, for the belief systems, I like how that works too, where the belief systems based on your gods will provide additional bonuses too. You could build your, you know, like these different statues, like a shrine of Mars. If you unlock these gods, they'll give you different bonuses like additional population, prestige, money, and also knowledge. And so if you put these all around your town, to which there are certain limits or whatnot, you can kind of see where those statues are, and you get additional bonuses. So there's not a need to build a big city, but you want to build a big city, but there's ways where you can kind of increase the density and get bonuses from it, rather than just building endless amounts of houses, which I really like. So there's just lots of different layers and ways to plug things in, so that way they benefit you for the like the belief system, the knowledge system, they all tie into each other. They're not separate systems. You know, it's not like, is my religion need covered? Is my education need covered? No, they all tie in. Like education can support religion and vice versa. And then it's also the same with like your number of population. You know, more workers is great. Then you can plug more workers into different buildings that then can generate knowledge too. Like another thing that's wonderful about this game is how they've made it so that way certain buildings can be built within the city to give a benefit or a bonus. Like, for example, here, if you build a sandal maker in the town, everyone's going to love that. There's no debuff for it. Sometimes a building like a bakery can maybe negatively impact the town because there's a fire hazard for that, but here it's all just additional cash. So you can see here, income +1 affected buildings 33 over on the right side. That means we make +33 coin by plopping that down. So it's another way to just break up the city to not be endless amounts of houses. And some of these structures look gorgeous. I'm telling you, these are really nice looking buildings. Like there's wait, let me find what it is. Even like these lower tier, what is it, the glass maker or something like that, looks really beautiful. Oh, I think it's this one here, the loom weavery. Look at this building. This is, wait, even just the weaver, it's got a freaking fountain in the front of it. Look at this. And this provides no bonus to the city at all for beauty or culture, but this is a building that just takes fabric like flax and turns it into linen, and that's all it does. And it's got like a little fountain out front, some trees, a statue. But the nicest building in this is the loom weavery, and that provides like a +2 on the coin. So you can see here, you know, you got 60 times 2 if we put it there, so it's like 120 if we could figure it out. But anyway, again, another layer to plug all these buildings into it. And also, it counts for your military. Your military can also be plugged into the town too to provide additional bonuses. So not everything has to be built separate. You know, I built my villa up here thinking, well, I just want to build it up here because it's a sweet coastline. But in retrospect, I want to put my villa in here now. But also, I could, you know, have other buildings built around here later on and put my tier 4s there. So it all could work out. But there's many different ways to experiment and toy around with your islands. And this island is another one where I was continuously refining that system of trying to put different buildings within a certain range of each other and make sure everything was covered and interconnected. And I'm going to get better at this as time goes on. And I wanted to build this huge military building, which you saw earlier with the towers, just to kind of assert dominance over the enemy and just kind of see if it was possible. It looks great, but there are bonuses for putting like the horses in town and next to other buildings too. So your barracks and everything else that's military doesn't have to be walled off. Although maybe it's a good idea to do that. If somebody invades you and tries to go for your production before you start, you can fend them off before you have an army with all these towers. Now, speaking of the towers too, there's a system that I don't really like here where they don't let you overlap these towers. It's kind of like how the buildings worked in Anno 1800 where, you know, like the trade unions or the city halls and other things like that couldn't overlap. And here, none of these towers can have interlocking fire. So they all have to be spread out like at that distance minimum. So even if you build a large thing like this, it's going to be harder to defend because you can't really get a lot of towers in that range. But maybe towers are super deadly. But also, again, remember what I said about the specialists where we can plug them in. And look at this. We have a guy here who can have troop recruitment speed plus 100%, and also the recruitment cost is lowered, and the troops have 25% more hit points. I don't know if they're created within the circle or if they're only here within the circle. Like when they leave the circle, do they lose that 25%? I'm not sure exactly. Maybe you can let me know down below. But then there's also this, another 100% on top of that. So I can make troops at like 200% speed and really make an army quickly if I need to. So there's really not a need for me to always have like a standing army, so I can get all this extra money from it. Anytime you have a huge amount of ships or troops, you have to pay for them, and they're also not working because they're in the army. They're only consuming resources. They're not really contributing to anything other than your defense or maybe a conquest, which comes later with the cash. But yeah, so it's an interesting thing to consider. Do I want to build a lot of towers? But yes, again, remember this game has land combat, and I am going to show that in another video in the future, as well as naval combat. And at this point, we obliterated the enemy, and I want to talk about this too, because I think it's really great that now in this game, if you obliterate the pirates or the lady in Albion, which she's kind of a pirate too, but more of a freedom fighter, you could choose when they come back, if they come back at all. So if you eliminate the pirate threat, some of their ships will still be around the map. I think when they're done, they just won't produce any more. So I think, is this a pirate ship here? Yeah, if I approach this ship, they'll like attack me and get hostile, but like once they're gone, that's it. So there's only like maybe 3 or 4 ships around the map, and that's it. So I love that. In fact, if you go to the diplomacy tab, you can actually see here on this option here that the pirate is dead. and we can actually reclaim him and like have him come to the region. But I want more options here. We can only have his like army set to easy or whatever. Like we can go ahead and have him come on in, but it's permanently locked as to how difficult he and she will both be. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I want more options there, but it's good enough, I think. Now, additionally to that, this is another thing I really enjoyed, the accolades. This allows you to do all sorts of different challenges in order to unlock a bunch of like Hall of Fame points. So by literally just playing the game, you know, there's weird, funny challenges like build 9 houses. You know, Anno is always supposed to equal 9, like 117 equals 9, 1800 equals 9 for the last couple of games, 1404, for example. So there's a lot of quests that are just like build 9 road tiles, build 9 marketplaces, build 9 this and that. And then you get points for that. And then you can spend those points in the Hall of Fame, which I was a little worried about. I thought that was going to be like their store page. But this fame here that I got towards the end of rushing, towards the end of us being able to stream it, I have a ton of points now to be able to spend to get to tier 5. Now, the point spending in this kind of works like how it does in Helldivers. I'm going to use that example because I think a lot of people played that one. And you're basically unlocking everything from the previous tier to unlock the next tier. So you spend low amounts of points and then go on to the next one and the next one. And what these things are is some of them are just like images for your flags when you go to play in multiplayer, or in sandbox you choose like your logo for your empire. You can also permanently unlock like some research as well. That gives you a little bit of a boost, but these are not too like far in advance. It's like, hey, if you played maybe like 4 hours of the campaign, you could unlock maybe the first 2 tiers of a lot of this stuff. And it's really great stuff too, like that fountain that you saw before. Like I unlocked that here, and then there's also the different paint jobs for the villa, and then they have that paint job for the town houses as well. Like you can put that on some of the homes. But what I'm really working my way up to is this, the Triumphal Arch, which is glorious in all ways, shape, and forms. But I got to first unlock tier 5, then spend another 120 for that. So I got to find other little challenges to do. So some of those are fun, like you know, going through some of the other like the quests from other AI. They kind of have their own stories, so if you help them out, you get more points for that. Or just going through the campaign too, it'll give you a lot of points. So if you really want that kind of stuff, do that. And then there's other ones like to eliminate all the AI, like Dorian, Lucia, characters you've seen before. And then you can get to the rank of like consul or, you know, proconsul, whatever, and be able to claim those points and you know, spend it more and more in the shop. Now, not only can you do that in Latium, but also Albion too, and then you can spend points here for other characters for your portraits. I like Max here. He's very cool. I like him as a character. He's kind of, I don't know, he's like Willy, but a little more confident, right? He's just trying to be a nice guy. And here you go for the, I think this is the Elderman house or something. Yeah. So anyway, up to tier 3 for Albion. So the Albion people go up to tier 3. The Romans are going to go up to tier 4 in Latium in terms of the homes. And so the Hall of Fame looks a little different there. But very fun to be able to run quests from them, and also for the Emperor too. I'm really looking forward to doing this with friends, but this is going to have to be like you're going to have to dedicate maybe like 6 hours a day each, like weekend day, to get through this whole thing. It's a long, arduous slog, and it's very fun. Like you want it to be that way, I think. So long as you have the people who have the patience to do that. Otherwise, you just play against the AI and play when you can. But also, I feel like you should be playing multiple games at a time. So here is back to Albion then. I like the way Albion looks. I haven't really completed this. I'm finding it hard to find decorations to really go well with the Celts, but I think they mostly live in nature. So a lot of their buildings look very, very nice. Again, this is on par and even better than Farthest Frontier, which I love the look of the buildings in that game. So the design of the buildings, great. Color palette, great. Materials, wonderful. Like it all just kind of checks out, and it just looks good. You see things made of stone. Oh, there's some disease going on here. That's bad, but we'll worry about that later. That's somebody else's problem. But it's getting harder for me, I think, to pick things to try to keep it Celtic. So I hope we get more things for the Celts, and especially the Egyptians and any other nation that we see in the future for DLCs, because I don't know, I kind of feel like not building any more of these folks unless, or, you know, like building upwards with upgrades, unless I'm building like with the Romanic or Romano Celts, where you drain their marshlands and stuff like that. But there's been some really great maps here. I can absolutely feel that the maps here are supposed to be a little more different based on the game mechanics. Like here we have a small strip of land to build on, but then we can expand that if we go Roman. But they always seem to be very fortifiable. There always seems to be a hill where you can build your villa up at the top. So I think this is where a lot of combat may be taking place too in Albion, because players might not build up as much here as they have in Latium. Like, that's where their main armies will be. That's probably where they're going to have most of their defenses and ships. So it could be a little more free here. But the other characters that you meet are also from the campaign, and they have some nice islands. And again, I think 10 out of 10 on these islands here for the AI. And it does remind me of some of the islands we got to play in scenarios for Anno 1800. So I hope we get more like very challenging scenarios that are kind of more like resource management heavy, like in Frostpunk. So I really hope that these kind of scenarios we get to play out as some of these other characters, and you know, really get to experience this game beyond the campaign, beyond the sandbox, beyond multiplayer. And also, of course, you can play 4 players per team times 4 players, or you can play like a 1v1, you know, like a 4-player free-for-all type deal. So pretty good stuff. I haven't really had any issues in this game. I think it may have crashed one time when I was doing something between menus or something like that, but in all the time that I played, it's very stable. I like all the resources that are here, and I just want to experience more of the game. And I think each playthrough is going to give a little bit more of that, in addition to the whole day-night cycle, which is, again, very pretty too. So we've got, like, you know, we can set things to nighttime. There's good weather effects. The thunder sounds like really good. So attention to detail here is quite high. You know, I think things look really different than any previous Anno game, and because now we can build at a 45-degree angle, I think there's a lot of different stuff here, including, although unfortunately the developers got the world map incredibly wrong. I don't know how they got this so wrong. It's like they had outdated maps or something like that. It's almost as if like they, I don't know, we're trying to recreate what the Romans had for maps at the time. Now, I'm just kidding. Yeah, they're basing this on historical accuracy of what, you know, at the time the Romans had for maps, or at least what they considered to be, you know, what we consider the old world to be their world of, you know, the Mediterranean and parts of like Germany and Scandinavia, other things like that. I do feel like in the future we may see like a Scandinavian kind of Vikings vibe. I think we'll see Germanic tribes, but I think they'll also make them Vikings, because if you think about it, Anno is a game all about islands and shipfaring, and so I think they'll try to maybe blend a couple of nations together, and it would be really cool to see more raiders and threats that could come in that aren't necessarily ones that you're going to be able to fight back against at their source, but have to defend against too. It'd be great to have all sorts of different options to be able to play however you want. But again, even this map is oddly detailed and looks really cool, although I'm not sure what all of these like golden blotches are. I don't think these are rivers or anything, are they? I'm not sure, but it just looks like a beautiful little like a porcelain like sculpture, something like that. I don't know, but anyway, I thought it was another great attention to detail. And of course, it does show parts of, you know, North Africa, so we can see a lot more of that. So let's jump back to Latium. Load times between areas is really good. This game, I think, will be coming to console and will be crossplay. So I really hope there will be minimal issues for people who happen to torture themselves with playing on a console. I could never do that. I don't know. But again, it really just looks outstanding. I mean, just really great. I don't even want to fight anybody in this game. I don't want my stuff to be destroyed. I don't want to destroy anybody else's stuff. Like when I play this with friends, I'm just going to encourage everybody to build the best they can and like work together to get projects done for everybody so they can have a good time. I want to jump over to this little island. Look at these lavender fields. These are ridiculous. I had been saying this since the very beginning back in May, and I said it when I played the demo, and I'll say it again. I mean, the details here of the small trees and the sheds and even like little wells that are in here is outstanding. They've done a great job with all these little things to be able to make, and I haven't even been able to make everything in the game yet. There's been like a couple of materials that I haven't been able to farm just yet, like olives. I've been mostly just importing olives and crushing them because I couldn't, you know, conquer all the islands to do that. And there are ways around that, but I have been taking my time as best I can to literally put stone walls around things like the vineyard, but then also the hemp fields themselves have like a little stone wall around them by default, and so did the lavender fields, so they look really pretty next to each other. The green, the lavender color, you know, the purple, the small trees here. I mean, they've done a really good job of not making the fields feel so bland like you would see for the oat fields like this, and also like the wheat fields. But I mean, just look at the detail here. This is just really good. I mean, it's really good. I didn't really need it to be that much better, but the 45-degree angles have opened up just a natural beauty. I think there's been a lot of games this year that are sequels that have really stepped it up with what you can do or how things look. and I'm all for it. I would like to see some terraforming in this game eventually, but I get why we can't have it. There is a little bit of mild terraforming too. When you construct certain structures, they do kind of flatten things out a little bit, or at least they, you know, build a foundation like this. Like, look at the stairs here on the sanctuary. It looks good. They did a good job. Another nice detail here is too, whoever you're praising changes at the sanctuary. I didn't notice this until later, but we've got like our, you know, god of harvest here, and you can see her statue right there. But then if we go to another island that's praising Neptune, then you see it changes completely. That's the bathhouse, so that's going to look a little different. But there's his building over here. Oh, this is Mars now, actually, but I think it's Mars. Oh, yeah. Patron god is Mars now, so you can see how that kind of looks different. Fire, troops kind of like fighting rather than people doing harvest. And I think if we go back to the main island, actually they're all the same, but yeah, so anyway, it changes and it's nice. So a lot of little details here, things I'm still learning, things that I'm excited to find out about. I think there's more surprises here, especially at the tier 4 and maybe beyond. Maybe we'll see a higher tier than that, but quite a nice city, I must say. So let's go ahead and take a little walk around. Let's go on a tour and just kind of start here at the dock. And this is the city that I think I've spent the most amount of time at, but the other city is one that I've spent the most amount of I think my skills at. Like, after developing my skills here in the first city, I think this helps to make the second city even better, and I think it'll be true then for the third city, and so on and so forth, when I really go to make them big. Now, Anno, you know, this first-person mode is kind of not a new thing, but I think it's been made a little bit better, a little more free to be able to do goofy things like go down the you know, the aqueducts and interact with stuff in the world a little bit more. And, you know, like, I don't know if you can do combat this way, but it does seem like you might be able to do that. So, pretty sweet stuff. Oh, and you can kind of change your outfit.
You know what athletes need.
Nice.
You could put that on papyrus, you know. Make it official. The diplomats could sort that out.
But it's really nice to see most of these islands having a slope, and then the game has to kind of create these level areas. You know, terraforming wasn't really as easy of a thing as it is nowadays with all these excavators and, you know, high-tech equipment. It certainly could be done, but for the most part it was just kind of easier to, you know, lay a foundation and then level that foundation out than to change the earth. So yeah, really great details on the buildings here. These are the tier 3 buildings. I think there's some tier 2s over there. That's a vineyard there, which is turning some of the grapes into wine, but also importing grapes from elsewhere. But yeah, look at that. I mean, you could just walk around your city forever. I mean, it looks great. But the aqueduct is there, and just a good opportunity for photos. Birds flying around. There's our theater. And all the little streets that I made that are lined with all the torches and have the different monuments and stuff. That's so cool, dude. What a great little game. These 45-degree angles are everything, and it's a shame that 1800 didn't get it. I mean, yeah, it's amazing to be able to build all these little parks and plazas in any game, and I think it works the best in like town to city because there's actual bonuses for that in the game. But it's very nice to be able to put down a plaza, go pet a dog or a kitty, and yeah, apparently that's a cow, I guess. But cool. I mean, if you ever need to de-stress after playing in this game, it's a nice time to be able to walk around and play on more of the peaceful settings. The folks who really want to spreadsheet things and min-max can absolutely do that, and I think it's a very easy thing now to do. You know, you've got your mass copy tool. Some of the things that came later in the previous game are here, and some more things need to be added, I'm sure, but I think it's going to be an even better game than the previous. And yeah, I can only imagine how much DLCs will be in this one. Yeah, you know there's going to be DLCs, but I think they're going to be good. I think it's going to be a good time, and I just really like this game after playing many hours that I have so far in my initial playthrough. And I felt that way about 1800, going to war with the dreadnoughts, and having a big navy was cool, but we always were missing land forces. So the only thing that I think would make 1800 better than this game by far would have been land forces and 45-degree angles ahead of time by default. I'm sure there are probably mods for that, but it's really Really a nice thing to be able to just see in a game like this. Let's go ahead and go back to daytime, and let's go to the other island. I just want to walk around that for just a second as I continue to give a minor tour of these areas. But yeah, this is a great opportunity for, I think, a lot of people who want to get into a city builder like this to get into it. If you haven't played an Anno game, it certainly is intimidating, but the campaign is very helpful, and just taking things slow and playing one at a time, and maybe even playing sandbox on easy is totally fine too. Just go for it. It's your game. You do whatever you want. If you're going to play competitive multiplayer, I'd say do so with friends who either want to teach you or go easy on you, so that way you can kind of learn as you go and up your skills. And I think that's really what's important in these games, is to not know everything and to just learn every time that you play. And that's what makes a game like this very, very fun, I've got to say. All right, everyone. Well, that's going to be all for my kind of final thoughts on what I played so far of Anno 11.7. But again, I still have yet to play Tier 4. I still have yet to build like the Colosseum and additional monuments, as well as kind of win the game. But at this point, I think it's just by, you know, wiping out the enemy. So anyway, if you want to see more, subscribe to the channel, turn on that notification bell, and I'll see you all next time for more of Anno 11.7. Pax Romana 117 is incorrect. It is 11.7, just like 7-Eleven. And to me, that's a good time. And so is this game so far. So anyway, I hope to see you all next time. Thanks again for being here, and we'll see you soon for more of Anno. Goodbye, everybody. Bye, lady.
A grand new mosaic to celebrate the life of Aeneas, one of my ancestors.
Okay, cool.